Welcome to Cheers. I'm your host, Avery Woods. Hi guys, welcome back to season 2, episode 1 of the Cheers podcast. And I promised you guys David would be back for episode 1. So here's my man. We have to pick up where we left off, because where we left off on our first ever episode of Cheers was we were officially dating, and now we have 10 more years to catch you up on. So my sweet man's here. Thanks for being here. He has so much anxiety.
I'm so stressed out.
Being on the podcast.
I feel like I got drug out of the house to be here.
What? You act like I forced you against your will to be here.
I mean, you guys kind of did.
Oh my God. People are going to be pounding on my door like, Avery's such a bad boy.
And this is my second cranberry vodka.
Yeah.
At 10 in the morning to get through this.
Okay, speaking of cheers. I'm drinking a Blue Lagoon
Cheers.
from Black Rock, which you guys know I love because I need energy. But David's drinking, is it
Cranberry vodka.
Cran vodka?
Vodka. I was going to make mimosas, but we didn't have orange juice or champagne. So
Yeah, because he needs to take the edge off a little bit because he gets so anxious being on camera. So thanks for being here, because I know you don't like to be here.
I'm happy to be here.
But if you want me to keep paying your bills, then you got to show up.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I know you're my sugar mama.
Okay,
I
so
have no issues.
we left off where you officially got my number. We were official, met at Starbucks, and then it was like 3 weeks after we were officially dating, and you were like, hey, you want to go to San Diego?
Right. Yeah. Did we have the sit down with your parents prior to that trip, or was that after?
No, that was after.
We got to talk about that because that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Does mom and dad listen to this podcast?
Probably.
Oh, God.
It's fine.
So they'll hear it from our perspective of what happened, which
Yeah.
is super funny.
Yeah. So you said, hey, I'm from San Diego. My grandparents live there. Would you want to go to San Diego?
Yeah, a little weekend getaway.
Yeah.
Kind of to kick off our relationship officially. And so I got onto Groupon, and I was trying to be a baller, but I was broke. So I found a deal.
But that's still one of our favorite hotels we've ever stayed at.
Yes. Yeah. Still, that memory and that weekend was awesome. So for Southern Californians or people who are familiar with that area, Humphreys, is it by the bay? By the sea?
Humphreys by the bay.
Something like that. Anyways, I found a Groupon for Humphreys.
On Shelter Island?
On Shelter Island.
Yeah.
I'd never been there. Being from San Diego, never hung out down there or anything. Been to Point Loma, but not to Humphreys. And so we took a little road trip to Humphreys for, I think it was a two night stay or something like that. I remember I didn't have enough money, but you begged me to go to SeaWorld. And I said, no, absolutely not.
And it's funny because I remember, because I was 18, maybe I just turned 19.
I think you were 19 then, I believe.
No, this was in March.
January,
I
February,
turned...
March.
Oh, no, you're right. I was 19.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, he's taking me on a vacation. I literally remember thinking, God, he's so rich.
No, I was so poor.
Oh, it's so
But
cute.
I wanted to take you to kind of the most special place to me. San Diego's always been like, ever since I was a child, I always told my parents and my grandparents, one day I'm going to live here. I'm going to move back to San Diego. And just loved that area. Spent every summer there with my grandparents. So it had a very near and dear place in my heart. Mm-hmm. And I wanted you to experience that. Just like later on in our relationship when you took me to Carpinteria and Santa Barbara area.
Yeah.
But
this was like literally 3 weeks into dating. And we were walking down PB.
OB, I believe.
Oh, yeah, OB.
Yeah, we went to Ocean Beach. So we went to Humphreys, quickly realized Shelter Island doesn't have a lot of restaurants that we could afford.
Yeah.
It was kind of resort style layout. So I said, hey, let's go to Ocean Beach. There's a burger place in OB I want to take you to where they have amazing shakes. Mm-hmm. And let's go walk the pier. So we went to OB, and this actually caught me off guard, but I was like, oh, fuck it, whatever. This sounds fun to me, but what
I said, do you want to get a matching tattoo?
Yeah.
3 weeks into dating? And we were walking down, and he was like, well, what are you thinking about getting? And I was like, I don't know. Let me look on Pinterest. And this was in 2014. and I was looking on Pinterest, and mind you, like I've said before, I've never been a religious person.
And you never had a tattoo.
And I'd never had a tattoo.
Yeah, ever.
And I decided to get one matching for my first tattoo with my boyfriend of 3 weeks. What a slay.
And where did you get inspiration from?
I looked on Pinterest and I found the same tattoo that the fucking Jonas Brothers have. And I was like, this is the one. God is greater than the highs and the lows. And I got it smack on my fucking rib cage where he like cut into me. Remember how much scar tissue he put on me?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that because remember, we're in Ocean Beach. Now, mind you, if people know about Ocean Beach,
walking into a tattoo shop in OB is sketch as fuck.
You have a 50-50 chance of what you're going to run into some very sketchy individuals. And I'm not, if anyone's listening to this that lives in that area, I'm not down. I love OB.
No, we do love OB.
But for walk-in tattoos, probably wouldn't recommend. At least 10 years ago, however long that was, 11 years ago now, we go into a tattoo shop and said, hey, we want to get matching tattoos. And I'm 99% positive the dude that we spoke to was methed out. Yeah, like he was straight up tweaking. And he said, okay, well, we're cash only, which thank God he said that because we probably would have ended up getting tattoos from him. And we said, okay, we're going to go to the ATM. We walked out of there and I said, we are not getting tattoos here. We need to go to another place. Yeah. And then for some reason we're like, oh, let's go to Mission Beach. That's going to be way better to find a tattoo shop. So we went over to Mission Beach. Mm-hmm. Actually, it was a good tattoo shop.
It was, yeah.
My tattoo turned out great. I don't know. Like you can see. It's hidden in my sleeve.
It was funny because this was before he had any visible tattoos. The only tattoo he has is that he had at that point was on his rib cage, which wasn't even finished. So he literally got it in the middle of his forearm. And I got it on my rib cage. And remember, I didn't eat, so I almost fainted, and he gave me a Snickers bar.
Yeah. So I'm talking, actually, which is kind of funny. No, it's not your biggest tattoo because you have a bigger tattoo on your tricep now. Yeah. But your first tattoo, it probably was maybe 10 minutes of tattooing.
But it was on my upper rib cage. That shit hurt.
I love you. You're so cute.
You have had an unfinished tattoo for like 15 years on your ribs because you said it was so painful. So
valid.
I don't want to
That's
hear
actually
shit.
a valid point. Okay. All right. I take that back. Tattoos on the rib cage
you
are
get cut open
painful.
when you have 2 kids. Get your titty sucked on for a year and a half, and then try to poop after getting
how did we transition?
Because you're shaming
from a tattoo to getting
pain.
Boobies sucked and pooping. I don't understand what just happened. I'm not shaming you. It was adorable. Avery has, for people that don't know her, which all of you know a lot about my wife at this point, the highest pain tolerance I've ever seen in my life. Like this woman had a C-section and didn't take any of the medications that were given to her. In fact, they're still sitting in.
We still have them.
They're just sitting in our medicine cabinet.
I still have the oxys.
We probably should throw those away. Yeah. But it's hilarious to me that someone who has the highest pain tolerance I've ever seen in my life gets a tattoo that took max 10 minutes, and she straight up was like pale as a ghost, about to pass out. I had to run across the street to a little market to get her a Snickers because she needed sugar.
I think it's because it was like in such a sensitive area on like it's like on my bra line. So if you can imagine how high that is, and then not eating. And I think I also like really sketched myself out and was holding my breath because it was my first tattoo and I didn't know what to expect. Yeah. But anyways.
The whole point of that story is it's kind of ridiculous. 3 weeks after being officially boyfriend-girlfriend, we're in San Diego and we're getting matching tattoos. But hey, that's how it happened. Yeah.
And then we got home.
Yeah, so we come home. Is that when mom and dad came back from their road trip?
Yeah, my parents were on a road trip and they came home and I was like, yeah, I'm moving in with this guy you've never met before. And I was 18. I'd only lived at home my whole life. And they were like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, I remember mom and dad came home. And this is before I'd ever met them. So they weren't mom and dad to me at that time. And you told me that your dad was furious with you. Like super mad. And I said, well, what's going on? Apparently, when they were gone, you were supposed to be taking care of their pool. And you neglected it. And the pool was a swamp. It was like green.
I didn't put chlorine tabs in or something.
So, I don't know. I don't know what totally happened. But immediately following this, so of course, my father-in-law, he's already like a very type A personality. Everything has a place and needs to be in its place. He's very structured, very routine. So to come home and the pool is green and it's going to cost him money to fix that.
And I had one job.
And you had one job.
And chlorine tab in a week.
Right.
I couldn't even do that.
up until this incident, which is an isolated incident, you're an incredibly responsible person.
Oh, always have been. Yeah.
Right.
And I was always the good kid.
So I think that caught your parents off guard.
Yeah.
And following their discovery, you're like, hey, by the way, I've been seeing this guy that has 2 kids and is divorced and is a cop, and I'm going to move in with him. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I could totally see why mom and dad were basically they were pretty upset.
Yeah. So they were like, he needs to come over. We're having a sit down talk.
Yeah. They said to me, you need to tell David or they said to you, you need to come over and we're going to have a sit down conversation. And yeah, I mean, so let's talk about that. That was kind of funny.
Before that happened, my parents sat me down on the couch and my dad asked me, he goes, I'm going to ask you one question and that's going to determine where this goes. I said, okay, what's your question? And he said, are you in love with him? And I said, yes. And he said, okay, then he needs to come over. We need to talk.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
This is the first time you ever told me that.
Yeah. So, because I think he was trying to be like, okay, is he like a fuckboy or are you like serious about him? And I told him I was in love with you. And so that's when you had to come over. I have never been more nervous in my life.
I was pretty nervous, but at the same time, I was weirdly confident in the sense of I was okay with the conversation that I knew was about to happen. And
my dad's only concern was that I was going to be financially taken care of. Because he's like, if you leave my house, which I feel like people from the first episode probably catch on to this. But for those that don't know, like I bought my own car when I was 16. I started working on my 16th birthday. I paid for my own health insurance at 16, my own phone bill. Yeah. I was completely financially independent from my parents. I just lived under their roof for free. Even in high school, like I even paid for like volleyball and stuff. My parents always taught me how to work really hard and pay for my own stuff. Yeah. So me moving out, my dad just wanted to make sure I was being taken care of because obviously he was the man of the house. But if I was moving in with you, you were now going to be the man of the house.
Yeah, he made that very clear.
Oh, yeah.
In the sense of he said, okay, well, are you ready to financially care for my daughter? And I kind of said, well, I'm already taking care of 2 kids and have a career and I'm established. So yeah, I have no issue doing that. And then I remember he said, well, she's on our cell phone plan. So are you going to take over that? And I said, sure. Like it was kind of comical to me, but I think he was just trying to reiterate like, hey, like, again, this was Taylor in the military at that time?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So this was a big deal. Their baby of the house is leaving the nest and, you know, the responsibility is being kind of handed off to me. Yeah. In the sense of, not to say that, you know, I had to be the one to provide or anything, but there was an expectation that we were going to be able to be successful and take care of each other and, you know, take care of the kids and whatnot.
And it was literally like within a week of that, you added me to your car insurance, you added me to your phone bill. And then we
opened a combined checking account.
Well, I said, when you added me to those, I said, well, I think it's kind of dumb if we live under the same roof and I have a job. I'm not going to like Venmo you every month. I was like, why don't we just have all of my checks be deposited into your bank account? Yeah. And so we went to Chase and we opened a combined account.
That's just the way it's always been.
And that was like literally a month into dating.
Yeah, like a month.
And people thought we were fucking crazy. But I'm like, I tell people all the time, I'm like, when you know, you know. Like, I literally knew. I had no doubt in my mind. And that was a decade ago.
Yeah. Yeah, we knew. We knew. And we've always just kind of been both of us are the type of personalities where we don't dip our toes into things. We just kind of jump in head first and go for it. And that's essentially what happened. And, you know, it all worked out and it was all for the best.
Yeah. Well, our first apartment was so cute. It was a 1-bedroom, but it had like a little double door den, and that was where
like
the girls had a room.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And it was adorable. And I remember we would just like go down and jacuzzi all the time. We were like in our cute little honeymoon phase.
That is our thing.
Jacuzzi.
Oh yeah. I think if we were to talk to any of our friends or people that we are close to us that know about us on an intimate level, like we are all about the jacuzzi life.
Oh yeah,
hot water.
Our pool's being worked on right now, and it's been so fucking annoying because we haven't had a jacuzzi all winter, and we're like,
that's like a prerequisite it's been for us no matter where we lived. When we had our home in San Diego, we bought a jacuzzi. We built a jacuzzi here in this house. Every apartment we lived at, we had jacuzzis. We literally live for being in jacuzzis.
And you live for baths.
Oh yeah.
Which is the funniest thing because he's 6'5", so his knees like are all scrunched up and hang out. And like you have like 1% of your body in the actual water because you're so long you can't fit in the bath.
Yeah. But I love my baths. I love my baths. I just love taking showers and baths. It's always been like a comforting thing for me. Which I actually read, if you take really hot baths and showers, apparently it means like you like are yearning for attention or affection because it feels good. Yeah, I read that. I don't know if it's bullshit or not.
I give you so much attention.
I know. I'm just like, no, I think I just like hot water.
David reads that and he's like, God, my wife sucks. I don't get any affection.
This is more. No, you're always.
I tried to bone you last night and you literally turned me down.
Oh my God, here we go. I was drunk. We're not talking about last night. We're talking about.
Sorry.
We're talking about.
Anyways,
9 years ago, or whatever it was.
Okay, so we had that apartment, and I was working at Starbucks, and I was doing my prerequisites for nursing school at Mesa Community College because I had a scholarship. And you were obviously working as a police officer.
Right, yeah.
And we had the girls 3.5 days a week. We had 50-50 custody. Mm-hmm. So it was like on the days that I wasn't working or wasn't at school, we were, parents to the kids. And then...
Yeah, we kind of had like two different lives, if that's a way to put it. Because on the weekends, the girls were with us. And during the work week, it was just you and I. So... I was working swing shift. I'd work till midnight and then you would wait up and come home and we'd stay up till like 2 or 3 in the morning.
That's what's crazy is how much our lives changed. Like I would wait up for you. You'd get home at like midnight 30. We'd watch a show till like 3, sometimes 4 in the morning. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then go to bed, get up at
till like 11, 12.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yep. Totally different life.
Get up, go to the gym.
Oh, yeah. We also worked out twice a day sometimes.
Yeah, we were pretty much gym rats. We loved to be in the gym.
Yeah. You were huge. People don't realize that, how big you were. You were a big daddy boy.
I was trying to bulk and be as big as I possibly could. And
people in the gym would stop him and be like, what are you doing, man? How much protein are you taking in?
Oh, it was unhealthy.
How much are you curling? Whatever the fuck they say.
Yeah.
But I remember being so annoyed. I'm like, why is everyone going up to him all the time?
Well, we'd also get asked. People, remember we were at Santan Mall one time and this guy comes up to me and he said, hey, what college do you play for?
Oh, yeah.
He thought I was a collegiate football player.
Yeah.
That's stupid. So dumb.
Yeah, you were like 200
I was almost 50 pounds heavier than I am now,
which is crazy. Yeah. Without an ounce of fat, by the way.
Yeah, very low.
You have whatever. Well, what's crazy too is like your biological father is 6'8". He's 70 probably now.
Let's see, he's 32 years older than me. So what's that?
Oh God.
He's gonna be 70. Yeah, gonna be 70.
Yeah, but that. It's just crazy because like even at his age. And obviously he struggles with like substance abuse and isn't working out, but like he is not in any way, shape, or form heavy. So
no, he's 6'8", like 260 pounds. Yeah, he's a very just large human being.
You have the best genetics, and I hate you so much for that. And I just hope it carries into our children.
It probably will. If you look at Ziggy, how skinny he is. He's just a long...
With my huge butt.
Little string. Nah, he's kind of thinned out. Stevie has the Ross booty.
That's true.
For sure.
Definitely. Okay, we need to move on to the rest of our relationship because we have so much to talk about.
Okay.
So, let's see. We moved to a few different apartments because there were times where you were courtesy patrol.
Yeah.
So we'd
I
get like
was
a free
saving
apartment.
money. Yeah.
And then I finally got into nursing school.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
that was in 2016. So we were dating for like a year and a half, 2 years at that point already.
Yeah.
And we had gone through like ups and downs in our relationship.
Of course.
But I mean, it's also very different. Like we didn't start traditionally. You had 2 kids. I was much younger. We were like figuring out our lives together, and we also merged our lives very early into our relationship. Like within a month we were living together.
Yeah.
Our bills were combined, all the things. But I mean, I know that we knew we wanted to be together. I also think you had a lot of growing and maturing to do because
for sure
you were already divorced at such a young age and had 2 kids. So we kind of had to figure our shit out for our first couple of years before we decided like, yeah, we want to get married.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you went into nursing school, and I was working a ton because you were trying to, play double duty, going to nursing school as well as working at Starbucks. And that just wasn't working out. It was too much of a stress load for all of us because you were so busy, which in turn made you stressed out, which made me stressed out. And so we figured it would be better for me to pick up extra jobs and stuff like that. So I worked additional hours. So that way you could leave Starbucks and just focus solely on doing nursing, which ended up being the best for us.
I worked my first semester in nursing school at Starbucks, but then semester 2 was when clinical started. And that's when we were like, okay, this is going to be a lot.
Right.
Because also on my days off of school, I was we were taking care of the kids.
Yeah.
So it's like I needed to study and prep for my exams because obviously anyone in nursing school knows how difficult nursing school is. And so David would work his 4 10-hour shifts a week, and then he would pick up off-duty jobs like twice a week. So he was lucky if he had 1 day off a week. He worked so much in order for me to quit my job, which is funny that so many people get so weird about gender roles and like how I make much more money than you, and I just don't understand that, because in my eyes that time of our life, like our lives would not be where they're at, and I would have never been able to graduate college and become a registered nurse if you didn't work your ass off to put me through school. It doesn't matter about a number. It's your combined life.
Yeah, we've never, I think, had a relationship where we defined like the traditional gender roles where I'm the primary provider and you're the primary caregiver for like kids and stuff like that. But I think throughout our relationship, there's been times where I've been the primary provider and then you've been the primary provider. It's just like an ebb and a flow. There's no you and I, there's an us, and whatever is the need of our, family unit, and whoever can fill that unit is what we do.
Yeah.
And, we're in a place in our life now, we're jumping back and forth, but whatever. We're in a place now where you're the primary family provider, and I'm starting to take on more of like a caregiving role, which is awesome. I love it so much. And it's just, we ebb and flow as to whatever is needed for our relationship. And that at that time, that's what was needed. And funny enough, even though I was working more, and that was stressful in itself, but it provided less stress for us at home, and more opportunity for us to be together and to provide for the kids and everything like that. That was in what year?
2016.
Okay. So 2016 is a big year for us. Yeah, because that's the year we got married.
Yeah, and the year you proposed. We were engaged for 1 month.
Was it only 1 month?
Yeah, you proposed the day after my birthday. You proposed the day after my birthday, so it was April 20th, and we got married June 1st.
Right.
So a month and a week.
I remember the June 1st, April 20th, not a date that,
Because I remember I turned 21, and
yes. Okay, you're right.
I thought you were going to propose on my birthday, but of course you did the fucking day after to throw me off.
Well, here's the deal. Let's talk about that, because I was planning not an elaborate proposal, But for some reason I thought like, oh, I need to do a proposal where I have a photographer and a videographer that's like hidden in the background, and they're going to take photos and, you know, catch the moment and all this kind of stuff. And it was like, I don't remember the exact time frame prior to me proposing, but I remember we had a conversation where I think you knew a proposal was coming, and you told me, you said, whatever you do, please do not propose in public. I want it just to be for you and I.
Yeah.
And I want it to not be an elaborate thing.
Yeah, I get embarrassed.
And I thought to myself, what the hell? Like, this is not what I expected at all, but okay, that makes it easy.
Well, I knew because we had gone to Michael's Creative Jewelry and talked about the ring design that I wanted.
Oh, okay.
So I knew it was coming soon.
Right.
But yeah, we celebrated my birthday. I turned 21, and then the next day we went and got ice cream or something and came back to our apartment. I was sitting
at the counter
on the bar stool in my bra and underwear on my computer doing something for nursing school. And you literally come down beside me and you were like hugging me, but you were like shaking. And I was like, what the fuck is he doing? Like, I'm in my underwear. Is he trying to have sex? And then all of a sudden I felt behind me, like behind my back, like you fidgeting with something. And then all of a sudden you pulled out that box. And I was like, holy fucking shit, it's happening.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
I don't remember what I said. Will you marry me?
You said something like, I love you, Avery Elizabeth Ross. That was my maiden name.
Yeah.
Will you be my wife?
And that was it.
And I said, yeah. And then remember I put the ring on. I was jumping up and down all over the apartment. I was so excited.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
That was so special.
Yes.
I still have those photos that we like took. Like, it's such a different world. Like, nowadays on social media, like, that's such a big event. But I'm so glad that was just like our special moment, you know?
Yeah.
Because stuff like that you didn't really do for like cameras or content. You just did it because you're happy and you're in love. And I love that we have that.
Yeah, I think it was different because the focus wasn't like
for a show.
Yeah, documenting it or, you know, making sure we capture these things to be able to show other people, or it's just something for you and I, and that's, you know, something that only you and I can visualize and picture. No one else knows truly what it was. So that's special. That's a special thing for sure.
And then we were kind of talking about a wedding.
Yeah.
And we went and looked at a wedding venue that I liked. And in Chandler, yeah.
Yep.
But when we were adding everything up, I was like, we're going to have to open credit cards. Like, my parents said, we have X amount of money and a college fund for you. You can use it for a wedding, but then you're going to have way more student loans. And
I left that decision up to you.
Yeah.
Because I remember the conversation that was had was when we looked at everything, and I was totally fine with and wanting like a wedding. And when we looked at the financial aspect of it and talked to family and everything like that, because your parents had said there was, you know, some money available for that. I just said, whatever you want to do. Because I think it was, hey, do I want to pay for nursing school or do I want a large wedding? And I said, that's your decision, honey. You make that decision on what you want.
Yeah. And then I was like, you know what? Let's just get married in a courthouse. So we got married for $75 in a courthouse.
Yeah. Oh my God. And there's like, for people who get married in courthouses, I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. But I've seen photos there's a lot of really cute courthouses around this country.
We went
Arizona sucks. Arizona sucks with courthouses.
West Mesa in the ghetto. And I was in class all day.
Yep.
And I was in my scrubs. Didn't own anything white. I went to Ross, Dress for Less. We were so poor. I got a sundress for $11.99. Didn't even try it on.
Did I even dress up? I don't even remember.
I don't remember. We don't have any photos.
There's no photos of it. There's
nothing.
Of
us getting married. Nothing. And
we waited in line.
I was in the car in the parking lot in my blue scrubs, changed into that dress in the car without even trying it on. I remember putting it on. There was a huge rip in the seam, like right under my armpit. And I was like, well, fuck. That's what
I
I'm
didn't
wearing.
even know that.
And then I get out of the car and you're like, hi, like all excited. And we walked in and it was 6/1/16. I remember that's why we picked it because I was like, that's a cool date.
Yeah, we thought
June
that was
1st,
a cool
2016.
date. That was a cool date.
We walked in. Our friend Colin, what's up, Colin? We love you, was our witness.
Yep.
And he's still a good friend of ours. I love him so much. He lives in Washington now. But yeah, we walked in and
Hey, do you want to be our witness at our marriage?
I worked at Starbucks with him.
Go to dinner after or something.
I worked at
Sure.
Starbucks with him, and now he's a PA.
Yeah. We just need a couple people here.
I know. I was like, I just need
you
you to sign the paper because I just really got to get this out of the way.
Oh my god. It's horrible.
Yeah. And we were married, and then we went home.
I don't even remember who the judge was. I don't remember what he looked like.
And we didn't even have a wedding band for me, so we went to the mall and I got a ring from Pandora for like $50.
Oh my god. You're right.
And it within like 6 months,
so tarnished
it like was so tarnished and green. So I finally just got a wedding band made like 2 months ago.
Oh yeah, you haven't had a wedding band for
I've never
ever.
Yeah,
until literally not even 2 months ago, like a month ago is when you got your ring redone.
And I was like, yeah, no, I'm doing the 3-carat eternity band. I deserve that. Thank you.
You do deserve that. Absolutely. I'm glad you bought that for yourself.
So it's just funny because it's just so different. And I'm like, God, I remember walking that courthouse and I was like, okay, this is what it is to get married.
We're getting married right now in a dingy, moldy courthouse.
Yeah.
That basically was a trailer with like literally a judge who we've never seen in our lives. And
yeah,
there were people before us and after us getting married as well.
I know.
Shit, it would have been a better wedding if we drove to Vegas.
Literally.
Like that's how bad it was.
I know.
But
whatever.
that's what we wanted to do.
Yeah, we did it.
You know,
and it worked out.
Fun fact, reference that, which we kind of reminisce on a little bit, is my grandparents were married in a courthouse almost the exact same way because my grandfather was getting ready to get deployed.
And they met 3 days prior.
And before he left, they were like, well, should we get married?
Yeah.
And they were like, we just knew that we were going to get married.
And they were married for 73 years.
Yep. No matter what happened or what we were going to deal with in life, we just knew we were going to be together, and they got married in a courthouse. Very similar in fashion to kind of what happened to us.
Literally when you know, you know.
Yeah.
So then after that, went through nursing school, and I graduated nursing school December, and the February of that year, so we were married for like 7 months. David's grandfather started getting really sick, and his grandmother was also really sick. Like she was on her way out, and we found out that his grandparents' caregiver was not taking good care of them. There was some elder abuse going on, some money missing.
Yeah.
So we were going back and forth to San Diego quite often.
Once or twice a month.
Once or twice a month to kind of check in. We found like drug paraphernalia in the house, just like bad stuff. And so David's family was like, hey, would you be willing to take a leave of absence from work and take care of Grandma and Grandpa full time?
Yeah, the conversation. So we went to San Diego we would visit with my grandparents a lot. I think we touched on it in the first episode, just how much more they are like my parents than they are grandparents to me. And so we were visiting with them, and it was actually you and I think your mom that ended up discovering
meth pipes
and other drug paraphernalia in the house, as well as some stuff that alerted me to some fraudulent activity that had happened on my grandparents' account. And when I started looking into that, it ended up being stuff that, was criminal in nature that had to be addressed by San Diego PD and whatnot. And they did a great job with all of that. But it fell on the family members because my grandmother, she was passed at that point, right? Yeah, grandma had passed away.
She passed the same month that you moved down.
And so and then it was just my grandfather, and the conversation was had between myself and the other family members of, hey, what's going to happen to my grandfather? And we had talked about assisted living communities, but my grandfather always said, I want to live in my house. and I'm going to live in this house until I pass away. Whether you want to take care of me as family or I need to hire private caregivers, I will do whatever it takes for me to be in my home, because I'm not gonna change that. And so we talked about it, and I communicated with my employer and was able to qualify for an FMLA leave for leave to take care of him because of kind of the circumstances about our relationship and my upbringing. And we made the decision while you were in nursing school that we would be long distance and I would take care of him in California until you graduated, which that was roughly, was it more than half a year?
You left in February. I didn't graduate and moved to San Diego until almost January.
Oh, okay. So roughly a year.
So it was like almost a year. Yeah.
Yeah. So roughly a year that I was in California and Avery was in Arizona going to nursing school. And it was kind of a crazy year for us because, one, we had been married for how long?
6-7 months.
Yeah, not very long at all. And now we're having to live long distance. It was a big change with the girls. Just everything was kind of turned upside down. But we really felt that it was the right thing to do. And I really felt impressed upon myself that, hey, for how much my grandparents have taken care of me my entire life, I need to step up at this point, and I need to be that caregiver and that person for my grandfather. Not to say that it was easy by any means.
David was literally the best caregiver. My parents still talk about it. Like, he was, because obviously I had so much respect for it being in nursing school too, and like doing clinicals and assisted living communities. But I mean, David was taking him out every day to the beach, giving him showers, in the shower with him, putting lotion on him, getting him dressed every day, making all his meals, going over the stock market to keep his mind going because he loved trading stocks. Like, David was so good with him.
I love my grandfather.
He's
I love that man.
He's the greatest guy.
And people who have followed you for long enough know that where we are in our lives right now probably wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for what grandma and grandpa gave to us. In the sense of, like, in full transparency, we inherited the house that they lived in, and that really set us up financially to be able to, do the things that you're doing now, and also just to give us a sense of comfort, in that we're not, strapped to, traditional, having to work traditionally, different things like that. But so in that year, I think I took like 46 flights. Oh, it was insane. So it initially started, I wanted you to come out once a month. And
it was also my responsibility to get the girls, because they were living here in Arizona. So it was such an amazing role. Yeah. I was a full-time nursing student, 5 days a week, plus clinicals, 2 12-hour shifts, plus studying. Also, I got the perfect attendance award. I did not miss one single class for 2 years of nursing school. I did not miss one day. Yeah. Not one clinical. I never failed a class. And then it was my responsibility to take the girls back and forth to and from San Diego, either by flying or driving. Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely stepped up. And that's kind of like what I touched on earlier. It's like there were periods of our lives where I was doing a lot to allow you to be able to do something. And then definitely during that period of time, you stepped up and you took on that role of, the caregiver and making sure that we were able to have a strong relationship with the girls, bringing them to California while I took care of grandpa while still going to nursing school. It was definitely a very stressful time for everyone, for us, for my grandfather, for the kids. But we just knew it was the right thing to do, and it was the thing that we wanted to do.
Yeah, grandpa just wanted to be in his home, and he loved us so much. He just wanted a full house. Like, he loved all of us there so much. It made him so happy.
Yeah, so initially we talked about you coming out to California once a month, and then maybe, depending on how busy we were or how busy you were, you drive, down in between at some point. But it got to the point as the months drug on that my grandfather would want Avery there so much. He just was like, she just needs to book airfare every weekend. I want her back. She needs to come back. When's Avery going to be here?
He's my man.
Like, he just loved having you in the house, and because you just brought that warm kind of warm homeliness and made it more of a home instead of two dudes eating lean cuisines.
Literally, I would come
sitting on the
back like every
computers.
week, and David's like looking more and more respectfully homeless. Like his beard was so big. I was like, "Are you good? Like, when's the last time you left the house?" He's like,
I didn't.
I know.
I
Well,
never left the house.
you finally got it down with Grandpa because it scared him to go out to the car because he was legally blind from glaucoma and he was also pretty much deaf. So
And could barely walk. He had to have a walker.
Yeah, so it was really hard for him to get in and
he's
out
a
of the
big
car.
man.
Big
he's like
man.
230 pounds,
Yeah.
240.
He's a big dude.
6 foot, over 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
Like
So
big man.
we finally got it down eventually. How to get him in the car safely, and he just wanted to go to the beach, but he wouldn't want to get out of the car, so we just cracked the window so he could smell the ocean and feel the breeze.
Yeah.
And he would just be so happy in there.
Yeah.
Just sit in the car for hours at the beach.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Well, and then I found out that Mission Beach has the beach wheelchairs.
Yeah.
They're like big inflated
Yes.
wheels.
He loved that.
And so I would put him in that wheelchair and wheel him up and down the beach. And it's so fun. There's so many. We could probably talk for hours about Grandpa.
Oh, he's the best.
Like a little background on him. He was a World War II veteran. He was in Pearl Harbor. He was on the ship next to the Arizona that went down. The stories he would tell about Pearl Harbor and his experiences in World War II and everything he did in the Navy are amazing.
Him and my sister really bonded on that because Grandpa has a book that David has now handwritten over his 20-year career in the Navy, every single place that he went, the date, and it's all in pencil.
Yeah. He would just talk. And so we would sit there and we would talk about all of his war stories and everything. And he would talk to Avery about all of his life experiences and things that he did with my grandmother.
Well, what's crazy, sorry to interrupt, but I feel like his story of how he got in the Navy is insane to me because he was pulled out of school in elementary school because he grew up in Montana on a farm and his parents needed him home to help on the farm. He would say that they had an outhouse like half a mile down. Just to go to the bathroom, they'd have to trench through the snow. Yeah. And then he is like 16 and he doesn't know what he's going to do with his life. He couldn't read. He could not read. And he goes to join the Navy. He lies, says he's 18, but he couldn't read, so they made him a storekeeper. And he was so good at playing cards. He was like gifted in poker.
He was a poker player. Yeah.
And he would sell things like cigarettes and alcohol
under the table
on ships and make a ton of money and send it home to grandma. And then started getting really good on the stock market, bought that nursery in San Diego. So he went from not even being able to read, join the military, and he died a multimillionaire.
Yeah.
Just insane.
Yeah,
that
the
story.
American dream.
The American dream.
For sure. Coming from Canadian born to his parents bringing him into America illegally.
Yeah.
To live with family friends, growing up on that farm, like you said.
He is truly the hardest worker, and like that kind of stuff you could never get away with nowadays. It doesn't work like that.
No.
But like the stories he would tell us how he would go, buy a new Cadillac every time it came out in cash and go to the store and surprise grandma with a brand new fur coat. Like fur coats back in the 50s, that shit would be worth like 30 grand now. Just expensive stuff, but he just would spoil the shit out of her. I loved it. Yeah.
But also he was always just so giving and caring.
So giving.
And all he cared about was that his family was going to be taken care of, and which impressed upon me that it's my turn or it's our turn to take care of him. Yeah. Which it was probably the hardest. What was it, a year?
Yeah.
Almost 2 years?
No, you left in February and he passed in February.
Oh, that's
so it was
right.
Exactly
the night of his birthday.
Yep.
Yeah.
The night before his birthday.
So the most difficult year of my life, but like if I could go back and relive that year, I would do it 100 times over just to spend that time with him because it was so special. But you graduated nursing school and came out in, was it January, right?
I graduated nursing school in December. And then I came out. You came out in February.
And we officially relocated to San Diego. So we were officially there. And we took care of Grandpa until he passed away.
Which, a little story about that. He was 97 and probably like a week or so before he passed, because he was officially on hospice then. So he was in and out due to medications to make him comfortable and
Right.
on some oxygen. And he goes, I am going to be so pissed if I make it to 98.
He was ready to go.
Yeah, he was ready. And Grandma had been passed for about a year, and they were just like, I mean, he would sleep next to her at, like, he had a little wooden box with her urn in it with a picture, and he would just, like, put his hand on it and talk to her all the time. Yeah. And he was like, I'll be so pissed if I lived in 98. And it was the night before his birthday, which this was also really crazy because he would say all the time, because David was the last Woods family member biologically. And so if David didn't have a son, the Woods family would be done.
Oh God, he was always like, you have to have
He's like, you have to have a boy.
You have to carry on the Woods
family.
And
I was like, okay, Grandpa, well, like, we'll see. And we were waiting for me to finish school before we started trying for a baby, because we had been married for almost 2 years at that point. And the night before his birthday, we're in the living room, and his hospital bed was in the office. He was sleeping, and all of a sudden we heard him take, like, really deep breaths. Mm-hmm. And you go and you're like, babe, I think, like, this is it. Mm-hmm. And then we held his hand. I remember you said, it's okay, Grandpa, we're here. And then you just let out one more breath, and that was it.
Yep.
And the next day, we found out I was pregnant. It was Ziggy.
The very next day. Yeah.
So it was just, like, so meant to be, because it was like I was already pregnant. I just didn't know it yet. And the fact that it was a boy, which is why Ziggy's middle name is Jackson for Grandpa. Mm-hmm. And then that was it. But it was exactly what he wanted, and he was so comfortable. And I had seen so much death already, like, working in nursing, and so did you. And I was like, this is the way it's supposed to be. Like, he passed so comfortably.
In his home,
which is all he wanted. And so did Grandma. And it was just, like, such a good thing that you were able to be there his last year of life, you know?
Yeah.
And he was so happy, and he was so grateful. And then after he passed, when we found out that he left us his home, because we went in the meeting with all the lawyers and stuff of, like, the trust, and we just couldn't believe it, you know?
Yeah.
And that really changed our life forever, so.
Yeah, it really did. It really did. It was, I don't even know how to put it into words. I don't want to start crying myself. But
yeah.
It was.
The fact that he lived to 97, you know, almost 98, we'll just always try to carry on that legacy for our kids and talk to them about him. Like, we talk to Ziggy about him all the time. Mm-hmm. You know, we have all his Navy pictures, and
show him pictures of the ships he was on and stuff like that. Ziggy loves that type of stuff.
Well, now I fucked up my makeup. Scotty's crying too.
All right. We took a brief intermission because
we took a little break.
I had to pee, and Avery had to refresh herself.
Yeah, I needed to wipe my tears away. I did not expect to cry. I haven't thought about that day in a long time, but I just loved him so much. He was like my angel. Yeah. We had a really close relationship. So after he passed, we went through a really hard time because
we were broke as a joke.
I was pregnant. You were trying to transfer all your credentials from working as a police officer in Arizona to now San Diego, because you weren't able to work while taking care of Grandpa. And then I failed my NCLEX twice. It took me 3 times to pass, which you have to wait a month between taking the test.
Right. And you've talked about this before when people have asked about your nursing career and what you've gone through with nursing, and people who, you know, talk about passing on the first try. It wasn't that way for us. Mm-mm. And
we also had a lot going on in our personal life.
A lot going on in our lives. I had to go through quite a bunch of loopholes to get my police officer certifications transferred to California. That took almost 6 months to get done, just with waiting and getting appointments scheduled and then continuing education.
Plus, once it was transferred, you then had to go through the hiring process through different departments, which is like polygraph, drug tests, interviewing family members. I mean, they even have to call his ex-wife.
Yeah, full background investigation has to be done for each department that is potentially looking at me. And I tested with a bunch of different agencies. I was just trying to get hired to get a job. And it was a weird time too, because I wasn't stuck on, oh, I have to only work as a police officer. I remember going out and applying like
Home
Walmart,
Depot.
Target, Home Depot. I wasn't getting calls for shit.
He
Like,
couldn't
I couldn't
even get an
believe
interview
it.
at Walmart. That's how broke we were. And I was like, we need some sort of work. And I was the only person working at that time during my first trimester of pregnancy with Ziggy, because I finally passed my NCLEX, and then I had to I took my NCLEX in Arizona, by the way. So then I had to transfer my license to California, which if anyone works as a nurse in California knows how long the State Board of Nursing takes.
Right.
So I had to work on a temporary license for 11 months. And I did like...
You did like weird outpatient stuff
weird
with homeless
outpatient
people.
stuff with VA like people that were homeless.
Yep.
So I was pregnant going to these like really sketchy places, and you were like, this is not safe.
This is not safe. There were some places you had to go
we
in
needed
downtown
money.
San
Like,
Diego
where
you had to have security escort you
through
the homeless shelters, because you were doing it was like helping people get onto like VA screening or something, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But we literally had zero money, to the point that like we qualified for food stamps, and we went onto food stamps.
Yep, we were on food stamps.
Just so we could have enough food, so we could get food, because we had no money at all.
Yeah.
And we reached out to your parents, and
we
they
were
helped us out.
We also were so grateful, because after Grandpa died, we found out we inherited the house, so we didn't have to pay a mortgage, which was the biggest blessing. But we also didn't have any liquid assets to pay for things like food and groceries for us and the girls. And,
utilities.
Yeah, and we still had
sort of stuff.
And we still were responsible for paying child support.
You know? Plus, we were dealing with litigation with the family trust, so we had to retain an attorney.
We had to sell our car. We had to sell my car, so I had no vehicle. Yeah. And I remember I went to like some super sketchy used car lot, and I was just like, give me anything for this car. Yeah. Like literally anything at all.
Because we just needed money. And I think people have seen too, on your TikToks, this last year when you bought me the guitar. This was also during the time when like I was literally selling anything and everything that I could. Well, like one of my prized possessions was my guitar, two guitars. And I went and I sold those just because we didn't have any money at all. And you were super upset about it.
You didn't tell me. I said, can you play guitar? We'd sit on the patio.
Yeah, we'd sit out on the back patio. Our house in San Diego had an amazing view.
It was so beautiful.
And one of our favorite things to do would be to sit out on the back patio. We had a little like fireplace out there, and we'd have a fire, and I would play guitar, and we'd just sit there and relax. And
that was what we would do when I was pregnant with Ziggy. And then I was like, can you play? And he was like, I don't have my guitars anymore. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, I sold them. Yeah. We don't have money for groceries.
I went to a pawn shop in PB.
And I was so upset. Because I think I wasn't upset at you. I think I was just so sad because I knew how much it meant to you with those guitars, which is why when I was able to go buy you back your guitar.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
That was like
emotional for me as well.
A big full circle moment.
Yeah. Because it's like those are things that are, like my grandpa would always say, is it a want or is it a need? Yeah. And it was definitely a want. It wasn't a necessity in our life. And the necessity in our life at that time was paying the bills and keeping a roof over our head. And so I had something that I could sell pretty easily for a fair amount of money. So I had to do that for us. And
I'm so grateful for that year because I feel like the little things meant the most. Like I remember going in my first OB appointment, we had no health insurance. Like have been through so much. Like I am so grateful for that year because I learned how to cook so well because we only had X amount of food stamps for ingredients. So I was penny pinching and we would go to that one grocery store where everything was in bulk but super cheap.
Gosh, what was the name of that place? I missed that. That was awesome.
I can't remember. It was really good. But I would like look on Pinterest every day for new recipes because I mean we couldn't even afford to go to McDonald's and buy stuff on the dollar menu. Like we were so broke. We also didn't want to leave because we didn't want to pay for gas.
We couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't drive down to the beach
Yeah.
because we didn't have enough money to keep gas in the tank, and we didn't have enough money to like. I just think about it now, just reminiscing on this and thinking about it. And I know a lot of people, and I'm sure people who follow you, or just from comments I've seen, and you talk to me about your followers and stuff that are going through the most difficult times of their lives. Like, we understand that. We've been there.
Yeah.
We have definitely been there. But, you know, I'd encourage those people to, you know, continue working hard, and, you know, there is always something better on the horizon. And
Yeah.
if you just keep pushing and, you know, keep those loved ones close to you and work hard, and if you have purpose, you will get out of it at some point. Not to say when you're in the thick of it, these words may fall on deaf ears, because that's a lot of people even said that to us. Hey, you're going to be fine. You're going to get through this.
And we're like,
when we were living in it, that's literally how we felt.
Because we were like, we're struggling. Help us.
We were struggling so hard. Now, we never went to bed hungry.
Yeah. We could have had it way worse.
Didn't have a roof over our head, for sure.
Totally.
We could have had it way worse. I'm not saying we were in some dire situation, but we were definitely in a place where we had to be smart and strategic, and the nice things of life were not available to us.
Yeah.
We weren't going out and seeing movies. We weren't eating out. We weren't, you know.
We would sit on the ground in the living room with a coffee table with like some homemade meal, like zuppa toscana that I would make, and we just watch The Office. Like, that was our little date night, and I was so pregnant. All we did,
yeah.
And I remember I could barely like sit on the ground because my stomach was so big with Ziggy. It would hit the coffee table.
Yeah, and then take walks.
And I was like, and now we have to have a baby and pay for all this shit. Thank God I made so much breast milk. We would have never been able to afford formula.
Very true.
And then you finally got hired at a police agency.
Yep.
Literally like 3 weeks before I gave birth.
Yeah.
So you had no time off.
Yeah. Which was, I mean, we're not religious people, but if there's something out there in the universe, thank you for watching out for us, because we got medical insurance, and for your entire birth, I think it was $20.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like,
so cheap.
When we just said, hey, well, prior to getting this, we're like, I guess we're just going to finance and we're going to make it work. It is what it is. And I got hired, insurance all kicked in, and we paid basically nothing.
Yeah.
Like a McDonald's meal for
your
entire
C-section,
birth.
which is crazy because here in Arizona, we paid like, I think it was like $11,000.
It was expensive
for my C-section with Stevie.
Yeah. We were definitely very fortunate in that situation. But yeah, so I finally got employed. I was working in Carlsbad as a police officer. But again, anyone who knows California, it was difficult for us in the sense of that we lived in San Diego, which is only, I think it was 30-40 miles commute each way.
No, it was like 28 miles.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact mileage, but it would take me an hour and a half each way.
Sometimes longer.
Yeah, to get to and from work, and I worked 12-hour shifts.
Yeah.
So when I was working in Carlsbad, I was basically gone for the entire day. When I worked during my work week, I was non-existent at home, because I would come home, I would go to bed, I would get up, I would go to work. And we were really, really lucky that a coworker of mine said, hey, you should look into getting a nanny from Mexico. That's a thing. And I said, I've never even heard of that. I don't know what this is. He's like, yeah, you're going to pay next to nothing. It's actually benefiting them from the families from Mexico a lot, because they're making way more money.
Well, you forgot the fact of why we needed to do that was because I worked full-time night shift.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
At Rady Children's, full-time night shift. And it was 2 shifts on, 1 off, 1 on, 2 off. It was like crazy schedule.
And you were working graveyards.
Yeah. And then David worked 4 a.m. to 4 p.m. So there was a chunk of time where no one was going to be home with our baby.
Yeah.
And so we needed someone to like literally live in our house 4 days a week.
And we had no family close to us.
No family.
We had really made no friends yet. We weren't really established at all. And so we reached out to this nannying agency that was in Tijuana, and
found Rosie.
Yeah, found Rosie. They said they put us on a Zoom call, and they said, okay, we're going to have this interview with your potential nanny. She doesn't speak any English. We're going to translate for you and see if you're a good fit. and we had this interview, which wasn't very long.
No.
She was nice and sweet, and she said she cooked clean and took care of a bunch of kids, and we said, perfect, you're hired.
Yeah.
And that was quite an experience for us.
She was incredible. We miss her so much. We tried so hard to take her here, but it was so difficult because she's not a U.S. citizen.
Right.
So there was
She's
like
on
a lot
visa.
of work visa issues that could happen. But I mean, she would do all of our laundry, cook our meals, took the best care of Ziggy. I learned so much Spanish when she worked for us.
Rosie was the best. She'd always make, what did she always say I was? Or she'd always say something
Muy
about,
guapo?
no, about the way I ate or something. I can't remember now.
Oh, I can't. Oh, that you didn't eat enough.
Yeah, I ate like a boy.
Yeah, she would always try to like shove so much food down your throat because she's like, you're too skinny. It was so funny.
This woman was wild. She was like a superhuman because I would come home from work. I would take my uniform off and like put it in the laundry basket. And then she was making dinner at that time, like homemade, authentic Mexican food.
Best.
That would
she
literally
would write
blow
us
your socks
a
off.
grocery list every week when she left. So when she was gone for 3 days, she'd come back and we'd have all the ingredients. Her grocery lists were all in Spanish. So we would have to like go like look up like, what the fuck does this mean?
I couldn't speak a lick of Spanish, but I knew the grocery store for sure in Spanish.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff she wanted, you'd have to go to like a little mercado, like an authentic Spanish marketplace. And so I'm like a 6'4" white dude walking through this like Mexican marketplace where everyone's looking at me like, what is this dude doing here? Trying to find
her ceviche,
her
tostadas, her taco. Oh my God, she was the best.
Oh, Rosie was the best.
But David would literally come home from work,
take off my uniform,
take off his uniform. She'd go make dinner, help put Ziggy down, and by the time David went to bed, his uniform was fully washed and folded on the bed for the next day. I was like, is this woman okay?
Yeah.
The hardest worker. And what's crazy is for what we paid her was so little, and we were always like, can we pay you more? And she's like, no, I'm literally the top tier of income in Tijuana because obviously it's American dollars.
Yeah.
So she was bringing home major bucks.
Yeah, she was the primary provider for her family.
Yeah.
Like multiple families.
Yeah, she had a multi-generational family in her house.
That she took care of. Yes.
She took care of her mom, her son, her husband.
Yep.
She was an angel.
Her husband was a truck driver. He'd go all across Mexico driving trucks during the work week.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that was a good year of our lives. I was working at Carlsbad. Avery was working as a nurse on graveyard shift. We had a newborn at home with Bianca taking care of her.
Rosie.
All right, I'm sorry. With Rosie, my brain is, oops.
Bianca's our nanny now.
Oops, was I supposed to say that?
No, it's okay.
No, it's fine.
It's okay. We love Bianca.
Scrambled all the time. But I think we were just trying to, at that point after Grandpa's passing and us both getting employment, we're trying to establish ourselves in San Diego and start our lives there. And
I felt so depressed.
It was very depressing.
I was a brand new mom. I had no friends. I literally had a couple friends here in Arizona that I would like text, and like the Adkins would come visit us, and that was like the happiest I ever was when they came and visited us, or I went to Arizona.
And they came like once a month.
They came all the time.
Yeah.
And I was working full-time night shift while breastfeeding, which is so hard. You were gone all day. You hated your drive because it was like 2 hours each way.
It was
my parents were like 7 hours north in California because you have to drive through LA. So, and then obviously Rosie had to stay with us 4 nights a week. So my parents didn't have a place to stay even if they wanted to. But I could not get a day shift job. And
they told you it was going to be years before you could.
Years. They told me it was going to be like probably 7 years till I worked day shift. And I was like, I feel like I'm missing half my kid's life.
Yeah.
So we came back for Jesse's graduating
the police academy.
The academy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we came back for that. And we rented a house in Scottsdale, and we were like, it was the middle of summer, so it was super hot.
Yeah.
And that was part of the reason that we were like, we don't know if we want to go back.
Yeah.
We brought the girls, we brought Ziggy, and we were like, we feel so much happier because we're surrounded by our people. Mm-hmm. And so when we went back to California, we started looking at real estate, and we were like, should we do this?
Yeah, we were looking at real estate and trying to figure out, hey, what is there something available to us here? We knew we could sell our home in San Diego pretty easily.
Yeah.
But we were really weighing the options. Is this what we want to do? We had always talked about wanting to live in San Diego. Since I was a kid, I always said I was going to move back to San Diego. And, you know, here we were. We were in San Diego. We had a home. We had careers. But we had been there for I had been there now for 2 years.
Yeah.
You'd been there for a year. And we just weren't making connections. It just didn't feel like
were
home.
empty.
It was, we were so busy in life. We weren't able to go to the beach a lot. The friends that I did make lived 2 hours away because of work. So there was just so much going on that it was making it really difficult for us to stay.
Do you remember that one couple we met at Home Goods? They were so cute, and they had a little boy the same age as Ziggy.
Oh, the MLM people.
And we started talking to him, and I was like, oh
we
my
talked
God.
about that for days.
We literally, David got his number, and I was like, oh my God, we made friends. I'm so excited. David literally gets a text from him that evening and was like, hey man, so good meeting you. I have a really great business opportunity. It was multi-level marketing. Yeah. It was like Arbonne or some shit. And David was like, hey man, like we both work full time, so we're not able to help in that regards, but we'd still love to be friends and hang out. And he goes, yeah, unless you're going to be a part of this business, we're not looking for any friends.
Yeah.
I was heartbroken. I was like, I'm so fucking depressed. I have no friends. No one wants to be our friend. I was so upset.
Yeah.
That was the worst. And I was like, fuck this. Let's move back to Arizona.
Well, and it just so happened that one of my sergeants that I went through the police academy with reached out to me and had said, hey, we're actually going to be hiring officers back. If you're interested in coming back, now would be a good opportunity for you to come. And it all just lined up that way.
Yeah. And I was able to get a PICU position, which was my dream job, on day shift. Mm-hmm. And it was like so meant to be. Yeah. And then we got this house.
So it was basically like, do we want to stay in San Diego, barely seeing each other? You're working graveyards. I'm working day shift. We have no friends. We don't have really any family here at all. Mm-hmm. Or do we want to go back to Arizona? You get the shift that you've been dreaming of. We get the house we've been dreaming of. I go back to my previous employer, and
all of our friends are here.
All our friends are here. All our connections are here. Mm-hmm. It was kind of a no-brainer situation for us.
Yeah.
And so the only really issue we had was, okay, are we going to be able to sell our house in a timely manner? Because you had to start work in like a month, and I had to go back to work in like around the same time back at the police department. And so we said, well, let's just see what happens. Let's put our house up for sale. And of course, it sold practically instantly.
It was like 3 days.
Yeah, it sold in 3 days. And we were really, really fortunate that we had multiple offers, but the buyer came in and said, hey, what do you want for this house cash? No contingencies, no, what is it when they check inspections? Mm-hmm. I want this house. And we said, here's the price. Cool. Sounds good.
Yep.
And we were done.
Yep.
And that was the end of it.
Yep.
And that brought us back to Arizona.
Was just shy of 10 months. And that's when we bought this house.
Yep.
And here's where we've been.
And we've been here now for 4 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's just been each year that has gone by has just solidified even more so that this is the place where we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Do the summers suck? Yeah, for sure. They suck.
Yeah.
It's hot. Do we at times miss San Diego? I don't know. Do you miss San Diego?
Not living there.
Yeah, I don't miss living there. We've been back and we visited.
Yeah, we go
it
back
actually
often.
took us almost it was over 2 years
yeah.
before we actually went back to San Diego, even on a trip.
Because we were scared we'd
both
be sad.
Really, really scared. We thought, man, if we come back right now and it like hits us, we're afraid we may feel like we've made a mistake. And so we waited, and then when we did go back, it was a great trip. We had a wonderful time. We stayed in Carlsbad, but that was it. And it actually kind of put it to peace. And
it did.
For me, at least, where I was like, I know I'm not supposed to be here.
I also think we've both grown extensively in our careers, and that would have never happened if we were in San Diego, where we have the opportunity now to go leave for the summer if we want to and escape the heat, or go to San Diego and rent a house on the beach for a week with our kids. Like, we have those opportunities because
of you
moving moving back to Arizona has really opened the doors for our lives, and I don't think we would be in this position if we had stayed.
I agree. Yeah. Well, I don't know. No matter where you are, I think you were going to be successful with whatever you did. There may have been just a different time frame of how it, came to fruition, but knowing you,
are you trying to get lucky?
No, just telling the truth.
Oh, you're the best.
Just telling it how it is.
Well, I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, we've gotten up to the point of here we are. I mean, we didn't really touch much on the Steves, little Stevie Lee, but what's there to touch on? You all know her, so
yeah, I got pregnant.
She's a wild demon girl,
and fun fact: they were supposed to be 3 years apart, and then a few months before we wanted to start trying, my IUD got embedded in my uterus.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And so she had to rip it out of me, which is super fun and cute during the first pandemic of COVID because it was so hard to get an OB appointment. And she was like, do you want me to put another IUD in? And I was like, well, we were going to start trying in the next few months anyways. And she's like, I'll just leave it out.
Yeah.
Just use protection.
Yeah.
That didn't happen.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
And then literally got pregnant instantly.
Yeah.
So they're 2 years, 7 months apart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another C-section, but scheduled C-section's the way to go.
For sure.
That was iconic.
Was awesome. That was awesome. I mean, I had to still suffer on that shitty little bed or whatever, but.
Are you fucking serious? You're gonna complain?
All the fathers out there know my pain that I went through.
Try getting your stomach cut open.
I'm just playing with you. I was just throwing it out there. You know all the memes and stuff, the jokes about.
No,
like,
I know. I just thought you were a better
meant.
man than that.
I am a better man.
Can we have one more?
No.
I feel like we could do just one more.
No animals. No more babies. We have Scotty. Scotty's our
adopted son.
Yeah, he's our adopted son.
/ my employee.
/ husband.
He
what role does Scotty not fill?
He's dying of a
joking in the
attack.
background.
I pay Scotty more allowance than I pay you.
That's true, but you spoil me more.
I feel like maybe we could just have one more kid.
It's physically impossible.
We could get around it somehow. Science is amazing.
What, get a what are they called? A surrogate?
No, I want to be pregnant. What? I love being pregnant.
I thought you can't with what's the snip.
I can. I think we can do artificial insemination.
Oh.
Stevie belongs as a middle child.
No, hell no. Hell no. She's already bad enough. You throw her as a middle child?
She's not bad. She's just smart and sassy.
Well, yes. Yeah.
Okay, well,
I'm trying to think if there's anything else we need to touch on, but I'm like,
no.
Our relationship, it's not that like crazy or special or
yeah, I think
whatever.
It's just like the background, but
it's a lot of normalcy.
Don't worry, we have a lot more podcast episodes you can be on.
No, this is it. This is
your last one,
this
really?
This is my last podcast.
Oh yeah, that's never gonna happen. If you're not gonna give me another baby, then you can be on like 5 more.
The fact that I have to get intoxicated at 10 in the morning to be able to.
You're not even intoxicated.
Well, no, I'm not, but I mean enough to take the edge off.
Oh, that's good.
This podcast went a little longer than normal, but okay, that's fine.
All right. Well, I love you. Thanks for being on.
I love you so much.
Oh. You're my best friend. Nice doing business with you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Knuckles. Fingers.